All right. For this lesson, we are going to work on finding the area of parallelograms. Now, the formula, the way we find it, is we do the base times the height, assuming the base and the height that we get, just like in a triangle, need to be perpendicular. Okay? And let me show you why this works. Now, bear with me. It looks a little funny, but if I take this triangle part of the parallelogram and I move it over to right there, what shape do I have now? What shape is this? Well, it's a rectangle, right? And what do we know about the area of rectangles? Well, we know we can do the length times the width. So the length times the width, or the base and the height of the parallelogram, we can use to find the area. So we just do 15 times 8. All right, so once we multiply that, we should get 120 for this one. We're doing the whole rectangle, so we don't need to divide like we did with the triangle. We just multiply like we did with rectangles. So that's the main thing, is keeping those two things straight. Triangles are half of rectangles, so we divide by 2. Parallelograms and rectangles are the whole thing, so we don't need to divide. Let's look at some more examples. So if I have 3 numbers, I'm not using all 3 numbers. Remember, I need to find the 2 sides that are perpendicular. Well, I see this is telling me 2 sides are perpendicular. It's telling me this side and this line are perpendicular. We know this up and down line is 3. And because it's a parallelogram, we know that this is equal to the top. So that is 8. So we can just do 8 times 3, and we get 24. Because remember, if I took this triangle over here and I got rid of it and I moved it over here, I would just have a rectangle, and we know how to find the area of rectangles, which is length times width. Another example, find my perpendicular indication, my notation, and then we say, okay, this and this are perpendicular, so we can do 15 the base times 5, which is the height. That gives me 75, assuming I'm doing my math right, centimeters squared. If I get it wrong, make sure you let me know. This 7 is really just extra information. It's a sideways height, and remember, we don't use the sideways height. We use the 2 sides that are perpendicular. Let's do one more. Okay, so in this case, we know that the area is 50 square inches. We know the area. And so it looks like we're trying to figure out what the base is. We know the height is 5. So we're saying, okay, what's this base? We did similar problems to this with rectangles. Well, I know 5 times whatever the base is going to give me 50. So either I can guess and check, or what's the opposite of multiplying? Dividing. I can do 50 divided by 5, which will give me my base. 50 divided by 5 is 10, so I know my base is 10 inches. And I can even check it. Is 10 times 5 50? Yes, it is. So I know that's the area of my parallelogram. Or sorry, I know that 10 is the base of my parallelogram. I want to just point one thing out. All the parallelograms I've showed you are the same, are facing the same way. But if I had one that was, let me just rotate this one. If I had one that was like this, okay, my base can still be this, and my height can still be this, even though now it's sideways. It still is just the 2 parts of the parallelogram that are perpendicular. and the height will always go through a parallelogram unless they just told it to me on the outside. For example, instead of marking it on the inside, they could have marked it out here and said, here's my right angle, this is 5, and this is 15, and I would still use those numbers, okay? I'm still looking for which two markings are perpendicular. One of them will be on the outside. The other one isn't one of the sides. It's just in the middle or on the outside somewhere. All right. Let me know if you have questions. Good luck.